Ron Paul's revolution. Freedom is eroding, but this keeps growing. We need a change today. Ron Paul will lead the way. Tell me why the Fed prints worthless money. Tell me why politicians are so phony. Tell me why the gold standard went away. Ron Paul will lead the way. Let's stop our spending and quit pretending. Wake up before it's too late. Ron Paul will not inflate. Tell me why we pay for wars we can't afford. Tell me why the Constitution is ignored. Tell me why our liberties are slipping away. Ron Paul will lead the way. We all know that government is so large from the way that it's meant to be. Yeah, in spite of the damage already been done, Americans want to be free. Ron Paul on election day, you know he'll lead the way. Ron Paul. Fighting for freedom, Ron Paul will get the job done. Bring home our daughters and sons. Give us a chance to save. Ron Paul of the USA. Ron is for non-intervention, foreign policy. Civil liberties to keep us free. Ron is for constitutional authority. Ron Paul will lead the way. Tell me why inflation steals our revenge. Tell me why politicians are not patriots. Tell me why they wanna take our guns away. Ron Paul will lead the way. Ron Paul on election day.
Hello, and welcome to the Liberty Live Stream Team Show. We're your hosts, Suriyah and Qadoshyah Fish. This is our first show today, so just hang with us if anything gets a little bit wild. We're going to go over what happened at the Arkansas GOP Summer State Committee meeting. So I will pass the floor over to Qadoshyah, and she's going to let you know what happened. Well, I guess we should start with the kind of the things that led up to the weekend. We planned to go to this meeting after the Texas convention and the good response we had there. And so since Arkansas was only about 4 hours away, we decided to head that way on Wednesday, or Tuesday, which was the deadline for registering for visitors. If you weren't going to do it there, we decided to call and find out just if there was anything we needed to do to be a visitor. And we were informed that we couldn't record, even though we didn't mention recording by the Arkansas GOP. Don't know why they immediately mentioned recording when we didn't say anything of it. She seemed a little suspicious why a visitor might be coming, especially a visitor from another group, or from another state, I should say. So that kind of tipped us off and made us get a little bit curious about how things might go. I then received an email from the Arkansas State Coordinator for Ron Paul's campaign, who I had previously email, Facebook message back and forth, and she was real cool with everything then, but then I received an email, and I'll read a couple quotes out of it, which made us feel even more unwelcome. She says, I think by anyone coming in from out of state forcing their way in, it will cause an even greater setback here in Arkansas. She says that says that attempting to live stream this committee meeting would have just prohibited all the bridges that they've built, would have just ruined all the bridges that they built. Let me check the audio, guys. Let's try this. Got a little bit better on the audio there. Okay. So the Arkansas State Coordinator for Ron Paul's campaign really didn't want us to come live stream. She thought we were going to ruin all the friendship they built with the Republican Party for some reason there. And so we decided to go undercover and see what we could film undercover and see what they were going to do since they seemed so scared about things. We went Saturday morning, and from the time we arrived, we were watched like we were some crazy people. They seemed to have known who we were from the moment we walked up to the registration table as visitors. They started whispering to each other back and forth, like, you know, here, and looking up at us like we were, like they knew who we were. It was in Fort Smith, not Fort Smith, Little Rock, Arkansas, is where it was technically an Arkansas GOP Summer State Committee meeting. And this was to hold the election of National Committee Man, National Committee Woman, the at-large delegates, and the at-large alternates, which there are 21 of each. So it's done a little different than a lot of states. The state delegates don't have any say in the election of the at-large delegates, which seems a little bit odd to me. I think the people should be able to have a say as to who they send to a national convention to represent their voice. But that didn't happen at this meeting. This meeting was what would you say, a Romney indoctrination type of meeting. Everyone trying to convince each other that Romney was who they needed to vote for. So we shared some stories about what happened Saturday. We recorded ourselves telling the stories about what happened Saturday night when we got home. So we'll play some of that, and so you guys can get a little bit of a feel of the excitement from when we got home, and see how that goes, if we're ready. Okay, well, we're not quite ready for that. So we walked into the convention, or into the state committee meeting, and we're waiting for a little while until they, was gavelled and stuff. And there was a Ron Paul supporter, we didn't know she was a Ron Paul supporter at the time, who had set up a camera to film, and she was hassled by the police and the cops there and some of the Arkansas GOP people. She was told that she couldn't live stream. She didn't know why they were saying that. She was clueless about live streaming. So we talked to her afterwards and told us that she threatened. Yeah, that she was threatened, and told them she was just using it for her own family's use, and she, should have the right to be able to do so. They let her film, but definitely didn't like it. At one point, the District 4 chairman started to go off on Ron Paul supporters, which I'll share about a little bit more later. But that's when we really were intensely watched, and from that point on, we were watched like we were spies. We were followed around by, how many people would you say?
At least 5.
At least 5 guys, police, senators, just any GOP person, someone who I have no idea who he was, but it was, he kept following us around, and he stared and watched us for about an hour straight before lunchtime, and then followed us to the water fountain to get a drink, and wherever we went, really. I'm sure really about some yeah, at one point, my brother and sister, they were sitting on the back row, and so we could charge our video cameras. They didn't know we were filming, but they were sitting there, and at one point, a lady sat next to him and was trying to see what they were doing on their phones and iPods. So it was a little bit wild. Yeah, when the guy followed us to the water fountain, he seemed surprised that we were right there and that we saw him. And so he just said, "Hi, how are you?" And we said, "Oh, good, how are you?" And he didn't answer us. So we thought we should have said something like, "Good, thanks for being our security guard all day. Thanks for being so concerned about our safety," or what is there that you're so interested in us about? Try to have said something funny, but you always think of those things after the time. It's a little bit too nerve-wracking to be joking then. Yeah. So they elected the delegates and alternates, the National Committee man, National Committee woman, all unanimously. There was no questions about any of it. The National Committee man and woman was done that morning, and then they took a break for lunch. And no, there were no eyes. Oh, it's here and there, right? Yeah, every now and then. Every now and then, for maybe for the National Committee woman, they took it by a voice vote because she was the only one in the running, so they took it by a voice vote there. And the National Committee man, they did roll call ballots. They counted the ballots in a separate room, so that for whatever reason, I don't know, but they counted the ballots in a separate room. They brought when the results were done, they just announced from the microphone who won. They didn't give the results as to how many, what percentage each candidate had received the votes or anything like that. They also, as soon as the announcement was done, that someone motioned to destroy the ballots, and immediately, where our chat is go. Someone motioned to just destroy the ballots and unanimously accept whoever it was that was being voted in. Why they needed to destroy the ballots right away, I don't know, but the chair is the one who motioned to destroy the ballots, from what I understand. This is the Arkansas Republican Summer State Committee meeting. There were about 241, was it? I think so. 241 voting members there, and then about the same amount in guests. Yeah, so we have it on film when they say they destroyed the ballot, and we'll have it up on YouTube right after the show. So we secretly filmed for about 5 hours of the day. 4 hours. 4 hours of the day, and so that was really that was what made everyone try to spy on us. I think they were wondering if we were filming, and thankfully you have iPods, and you can put them in certain places and purses and pockets and stuff that you can secretly film. So there's we haven't given any of this to the lawyers for Ron Paul yet. There was one point when we openly filmed, because I couldn't not openly film when the district chairman was talking about the Ron Paul supporters the way he was. and so we had to openly film it. That was the only time. The rest of the time, it was all done in secret. No, someone asked if we heard any Romney delegates talk about how corrupt the GOP officials are. No, actually, they said just basically the opposite. They said that one of the 5 things the RNC has done in the last 5 years is restore the American people's trust in the Republican Party. So, seems a little, I don't know what kind of trust they're talking about if you disenfranchise voters and, you know, do things behind closed doors and all that kind of stuff. So it's quite they really wanted things kept secret there and really didn't want people to know what was going on at all. Yes, it's definitely supposed to be an open meeting, and since it's a federal election, it's rightfully that, but they didn't want to do that at all. So they had the why they didn't want it open, I don't know. And oh no, Ron Paul did not receive any delegates from this meeting because they were all Romney delegates. There are 65 delegate candidates, and they all gave a 30-second speech, and they almost all of them. There were a few Ron Paul supporters there trying, but almost all of them talked about how excited they were for Romney, how excited they were to help him get the nomination, how excited they were to help him get the inauguration. I mean, it was on and on over the top of excitement with Romney. One person even went up there going, "Woo! It's Romney!" with their fist up in the air and everything, and
it's the first time I've seen people fired up for Romney, I think.
Yeah, but their excitement was like fake. It was like they knew he wasn't quite the nominee, but was trying to convince themselves that he was the nominee, you know. I don't know if any of the Romney delegates that were elected Saturday will vote for Ron Paul at the RNC. It probably would take some pleading to do so if what they were saying at this meeting was true, you know. It was really, they were really, really indoctrinated big time. Yeah, we'll be releasing some videos a little bit later once we finish going through all the footage, but we have one ready to upload anytime. Let me make sure I can catch an earlier question. We had the video she was talking about earlier, about the one that we got interviewed right when we got home. That is not going to be able to be played today, probably. So we'll send the link out later. Yeah, we told quite a few stories. Trying to remember all of them right now, but state coordinators for Ron Paul's campaign. I've heard a lot of bad stories about them. We've experienced, bad stuff in Oklahoma, and I was hopeful with Arkansas it wasn't that way. But when I was told by a couple sources that the Arkansas state coordinator wanted all of the Ron Paul delegates who were elected at the district level to vote in and pledge for Romney, that was quite a surprise. I don't know a true Ron Paul supporter who would make their delegates sign a pledge saying they will vote for Romney on the first round. So, we have 10 of 14 delegates from Arkansas who are Ron Paul supporters, from what I know. Yeah.
Oh wait, not that one. No, the one where he's calling the Ron Paul people.
Yeah, we could play the video about the District 4 chairman right now, where he's calling out the Ron Paul supporters and how bad and how much of another group they are. So you can see what he says. If you want to play that right now, John, that'd be good.
About put in the minds of just about everybody that we don't really have to get really up and working on this. Everybody had kind of lackadaisical. And as a result, out of my 33 counties, only 10 counties held a special convention and sent delegates to the special district convention. That certified 86 delegates who could vote for the 3 candidates that we would send to the national convention in Tampa, Florida. Well, we had an outside group, a group of people working with elements outside the Republican Party, who brought enough people into some of our committees to form a small voting bloc. And because of the lackadaisical attitude of some of our counties and not sending the people that were supposed to come, and I blame myself for this too, because I should have got on them harder. I talked to some of them, they said, well, we're not going to come because we have a festival going on or something else. They managed to elect all 3 delegates from the 4th Congressional District who are loyal to Ron Paul. My problem with that is that 732 of every 1,000 people that voted in the Republican primary said they wanted Romney for their delegate. And only 138 of every 1,000 who voted in the Republican primary said they wanted Ron Paul. Now, all these things were done within the rules of the party. It was right, but it's not ethical. The same individuals who now have taken on the name of the Constitutional Republicans have been putting out a lot of information, and I've been watching it very closely. And I want you to know that in the last communication of theirs that I saw, they referred to the leadership of the state party, and they're talking about us, folks, you and me, and the people sitting on the dais up here, as gangster Republicans. And they're going to get rid of us. Even when they send out a letter that they want to create a peace and say, you know, we want to be a part of you and work with you, they cannot resist using the word rhino over and over. They are a radical group of people that represent a small percentage of the electorate. They want to move into the committees, get themselves elected to executive positions so that they can vote at the higher levels at district and at state, and take over positions so that they can start turning the Republican Party to the far right of the political spectrum. And when they do that, if you allow them, we will lose the credibility that we have all worked for the last 50 years in building a 2-party system in this state. And these candidates that we worked our tails off to get into these positions will start to lose their offices. I can tell you that in the 4th District, we've identified these people, we know who they are, and I look forward to the debate. Back in my old county, where I was county chairman in Garland for 6 years, they called me the Bulldog. And every once in a while they muzzled me. I've been unmuzzled. So those gentlemen and those ladies that belong to those organizations and one of
So there's what the District 4 chairman thinks of Ron Paul supporters. I've heard he was a lot harsher at the District 4 convention when they actually did have the sweep of Ron Paul delegates, sending all 3 delegates and all 3 alternates. That was, when I heard him start to talk about the convention, I knew he was going to start going, I could figure he was going to start going off because we knew Ron Paul had won that convention. So it was, we were like, wow, this is great footage to get on on them. That was also the time when we really started to be watched real closely by, someone in the establishment there. he watched us very closely for about an hour after that until lunch break. It was really, really intense to be underneath such scrutiny, but we had to get that on film. I do want to mention one more thing about the Arkansas State Coordinator. I could understand the concern she might have with people who she doesn't know coming there. You know, she didn't know us, but I don't understand how live streaming or videoing, you know, recording a state committee meeting or even a convention is going to hinder any sort of bridges that have been built or anything like that. We're peaceful people. We just go in and do what, just as any other person could be who wanted to attend that meeting. And we just simply had something that decided to shine a little bit of a light on their ways, which was the camera. They didn't want to risk that. At the lunch, thankfully, we were able to run into a few Ron Paul supporters there. And during that morning, my brother was ready to leave because he said he was getting sick with the Romney flu. There was so much talk about Romney, it was quite sickening. At lunch break, we met several Ron Paul supporters, some of which we met online previously, and finally met in person, and also some other delegates. Because there were delegates there and alternates there who were trying to run for delegate positions, and also for just the delegate meeting that happened later that night. Let's see what else another big thing that they openly talked about, which I could understand why they wouldn't want someone filming, is the National Committeeman for Arkansas, Jonathan Barnett, was talking about what they've accomplished in the last few months, and he said they raised $78,000 in May for the Romney campaign, which is the Arkansas GOP and the RNC, and that the RNC has $60 million in funds right now helping Romney with the campaign. And according to RNC rule, I believe that is number 11, they can't pay for any campaigning until the nominee is chosen or there's only one candidate in the race. And we all know Ron Paul is still in the race. He hasn't dropped out. And Romney doesn't have the nomination yet because Tampa hasn't happened. So they're going against their own rules there, and everyone was cheering for that and very supportive of that there. There were someone asked if Arkansas had any Ron Paul delegates removed. There were none removed from what I know. So we'll see how things go. Someone asked if we can take Tampa. By God's grace, we'll see what the future holds. I'm optimistic. How about you? Yeah. We're optimistic. It's the only way that we'll have any kind of hope for getting our nation back on track, and bringing our soldiers home and stopping all this insanity. So it's the only thing we need to do is keep on fighting the fight and keep positive, and nothing's over as far as the nomination goes until Tampa. It doesn't matter what the delegates want, what the media wants to say the delegates are, and we'll just deal with that. With them supporting Romney, they said they'd been raising funds for him since May, so quite a while back. Are we planning? I'm not sure if we're going to any other state conventions. We'll see about that. We do plan to go to Tampa, though. Yeah, Tampa and the Paul Festival. We plan to go to both of those. There's been talk of different conventions, but I'm not sure. We tend to decide like a few days before. Yeah. Yeah. We'll play another little video here while we're and then we'll continue on. The last one, the music video. Wait. Actually, you know, let's see if anyone, before we do that, anyone have any questions regarding Arkansas or anything else in particular? What we do with our footage, we're working on putting it all on YouTube, and we'll see. You know, we have several hours of it we have to watch through still. It'll end up on the LiveStream team channel on YouTube. So Arkansas has their state convention on July 28th. They just go over the platform though at that point. All matters of Delegate is done, and the National Committee Man and Woman is all done in Arkansas. The district conventions were held the weekend of the 8th through 9th, and then the at-large delegates were chosen just this past Saturday. So we do plan to live stream in Tampa. All the details aren't completely worked out yet. Hopefully we will have you know, at least the fall festival footage, you know, being cut live streamed. And what's up with the RNC? Not sure. We'll see what happens with the RNC footage, live streaming that. I have a feeling it will be kind of hard. I don't know if we'll have a booth at the fall festival or what. There's still some things being worked out. You know, kind of take it day by day and see what happens next. Yeah, there are. Did I miss it? Okay. Trying to keep up with the questions here. The Oklahoma convention. The Oklahoma delegates. We submitted a challenge to our state party chairman, and he refused to hear it. He didn't want to do any sort of deal or anything like that. So the challenge was to prove that the convention was never properly adjourned, therefore the proper convention was in the parking lot, and we to, you know, finish all order of business out there. So we had to submit that. Our lawyers submitted that challenge. The chair refused to hear, and so it's now we'll have to go before the national convention in Tampa. So we'll see what becomes of that. There's not much else I can share at this point with that. Finance, what we're doing. God just continues to provide for us. We went down to Texas. We just went down to volunteer, and about over $900 was raised for us to be able to be there. So it covered all the expenses of that trip, and any extra was put into paying for the next live stream trip to Tampa. I'm sure there's going to be expenses involved there, and you know. Oh, Liberty for All Super PAC. We met John Ramsey from that PAC in Texas, and he donated a large sum for us to be able to be down there. There is a chip-in and donation set up at some point. I don't know where it is right. I don't know if it's set up right now, but if it's not set up right now, some people will work on getting it set up for Tampa. So, and for Tampa, someone donated 2 condos for us to stay in. So that was very nice. That's very appreciated. The Oklahoma GOP did have a meeting in on May 22nd for all the delegates to you know, decide who was on committees and what they were going to do in Tampa and everything. So the delegates elected in the parking lot all showed up to, you know, participate because we were rightfully elected. And of course, they refused to let us participate And so we waited for all of our district delegates because Ron Paul has most of the district delegates in Oklahoma here. And so we waited for our district delegates to be done, and then we all met in a room right there at the Oklahoma GOP headquarters and did everything that the GOP did. In the other room, we elected our delegate chairman, put people on stage and all that kind of stuff. You can see those videos on our YouTube channel too, the Liberty Stream Team channel. So we'll see what happens with Oklahoma. Kind of still waiting, watching. Anybody else have any questions? Trying to catch up with all your comments just so I'm not missing anything. Yeah, there's Jim and Julia. You guys have donated a lot. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you guys can find us both on Facebook. Easily available on Facebook. So if anyone needs to ask us anything, you can find us on there, or you can. We don't know yet if we'll be able to live stream from the national convention. We are working on that, and we'll see what happens. Press passes are already, there's no more press passes available for the RNC, or they actually closed down doing press passes. So we have to wait and see what happens with that. There's a possibility of getting guest passes from somewhere. It's going to have to be done real sneakily, I think, if we were to live stream the national convention. What do you think? If this Arkansas committee meeting with a small hint of what we'll see in Tampa, it's going to be hard to live stream at all if we don't have a press pass, which I don't think we'll be able to get a press pass at this point unless we're able to get in with some kind of that already has passes. So from what I hear, the convention is a police state, and so where it's going to be difficult to do. You can only go to the national convention as a guest when a national delegate gives you their guest pass. Yeah, not anyone and everyone can join. It's very, very limited. Each state gets a limited amount, of passes. Each delegate gets a pass, each alternate gets a pass, and each delegate and alternate gets a pass, and then each state, from what I understand, gets a certain amount of extra passes, you could call them. Someone asked about Sarah Palin coming in. If there's a brokered convention, I don't really know about that. If she does, maybe she'll split the votes, and so that Ron Paul will get more votes. Who knows? That seems she doesn't stand any chance for anything. She's not any good for the party as far as a presidential nominee. So. Yeah, if it was split a little bit with a few more candidates there, Ron Paul would definitely get an easier majority of the votes. So that would be.
That phone is so old. I know, it's so slow. I wish 4G wasn't so expensive.
An ad playing.
I heard that.
All right, can you guys, is that gone now? Okay, I'm not sure what that was. What made us get into this? Let's see. Our family was back in February when we all decided to sign up as state delegates, and we didn't really know what delegates meant or anything like that, but we heard you could do something on the state level, so we went ahead and did that, and it was February. We did that, and then we went on to working the table at the Ron Paul rally he held in Oklahoma City, and then it's just kind of snowballed from there. You know, I met a lot of our leaders in the grassroots movement, and I became real involved there and coordinated our state for our state convention. You know, coordinated our delegate slate, and I set up the LiveStream channel a few days before our state convention, and didn't really expect it to get as many viewers as it did that day. And we've been Ron Paul supporters for a few years now, and just realized, you know, since we realized that we could actually do something on an individual level, it just kind of has taken off, and then, you know, God just continued leading us to new areas to do this in this liberty movement. And we're, you know, we have quite an organized group here in Oklahoma that helps make things a little bit easier, you know, a little bit more motivating. So we're having a party this weekend for all of us, all of our
Ron Paul friends.
Yeah. So let me catch up on some of these questions here. Someone asked about if we're operating on the premise that all delegates are unbound. I think that goes to each state individual and each individual. You know, in our state, most of our delegates will be unbound because the candidates who they will be bound to are not in the running anymore. You know, like Gingrich and Santorum. And our state may each delegate sign a affidavit, which has a state party rule that says they'll be sanctioned if they don't vote according to their pledge. What exactly happens if they don't vote according to their pledge, I'm not sure, but there's that threat there. So it's up to each individual as to whether they feel they can rightfully either not vote according to how they're bound. According to the RNC rules, all delegates are unbound, but each state has their own rules, and so each state's going to have to be dealt with individually, up to each person. You know, if delegates can abstain on the first round, if they don't feel comfortable not just voting against their binding, then, you know, that might work. So a website was set up for the Oklahoma Parking Lot Patriots. What was that? parkinglotpatriots.com. You can buy. Somebody made T-shirts and stuff. So if you go buy a T-shirt, it'll help with the Oklahoma Ron Paul delegation to get to Florida. Yeah. The orders have to be. We're taking orders till June 30th, and then we'll. I don't know if we'll be able to take orders after that, but yes, it says the Parking Lot Patriots, established May 12th, 2012, in Norman, Oklahoma. So it's a pretty cool design for a pretty cool cause. And someone asked if, yes, my whole family is Ron Paul supporters. Let's see, there's my family and my immediate family, my cousins, my grandma. We're all Ron Paul supporters. We're all state delegates. Those of us old enough to, you know, be delegates. All my friends are. So we kind of, for our county, you know, a lot of my close friends are in the same county, so we all control the state delegates here for our county, and kind of took over the county a little bit, and everyone's been kind of, what would you say, surprised. It's been quite surprising from everyone. John, if you could play that video of Qadoshyah giving her speech at District 2, that'd be good.
Here's Qadoshyah Fish.
Hi everyone, I'm glad to be here. My name is Qadoshyah Fish. 4 years ago, the magnitude of how far our country has gone became very clear when a court case in California ruled that parents do not have the right to homeschool their children. My family immediately began to look for a state which stands for freedom and more constitutional rights. That state just happened to be Oklahoma. Over the last 4 years, I have encouraged and seen the Republicans of Oklahoma continue to protect the constitutional rights of their citizens by rejecting laws that will infringe upon the rights of their citizens. While the Republicans in Oklahoma may be doing a lot to protect their citizens, there is one major problem that needs to be addressed, and if it is not taken seriously, the constitutional rights of the people of Oklahoma and what made America great will be gone. President Obama and many other politicians continue to destroy the United States Constitution. by promoting the murder of thousands of unborn babies, signing bills such as the National Defense Authorization Act and the Patriot Act, declaring unconstitutional wars, and passing gun control laws. I am only 23 years old, but it is high time for the people of America to stand up against lawlessness and demand change. So my purpose for being involved in the Republican Party as a national delegate candidate is for the peace and prosperity of my fellow citizens to ensure that Barack Obama is a one-term president. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That was at our District 2 convention, and when I was running for national delegate there. So it was, I didn't get any votes. Well, I know I did get a few votes, but we didn't have the Ron Paul numbers there, so we kind of block voted. So yeah. We got one guy in it all. We block voted, but our Oklahoma State coordinator caused some problems for us before, so our attendance levels were down. So it's a little bit, we lost by only two votes on one of the delegates, so that was pretty sad to see. Are there any more questions from anyone before the next little bit? Oh, Rand Paul. I think he's shall I say a loser? I'm not too. I don't really like what he said when he endorsed I didn't watch what he said when he endorsed Romney, because I was down in Texas live streaming for whatever 36 hours it was, and so I didn't listen to him. I saw the disappointment with him. I didn't care what he did. He lost my most support. You know, I haven't given up completely, but he lost a lot of the support from me and a lot of our delegates here, or a lot of our Ron Paul supporters here. So, someone asked about our state coordinator and how he hurt us. Yeah, he sent an email out prior to our District 2 convention in Oklahoma, telling everyone that they needed to basically give up liberty to fight for liberty in so many ways, and told them that if they didn't do exactly what he said to do, then they would be going against the Ron Paul campaign. So he caused a lot of division, and we had people not show up because of him. He's since been removed as a state coordinator, so that's much appreciated. The grassroots people here are very coordinated, and we're really on our ball game here. A lot of our guys who've been in this since 2008 really know their rules really well, so they are much better than our state coordinators. So. Well, check in the comments here, guys. Well, I can't think of any other. Did we cover anything? Everything on the state committee meeting? So we have a video. Yeah, an interview with all 4 of us that went. So we'll put the link here. We have a video of all 4 of us who went to the Arkansas committee meeting that night when we got home, with all the stories fresh and exciting. It's on the YouTube channel, Liberty Stream Team. So John just posted the link up, so you can go watch that video and see a little bit more. There will also be a blog post up with some of the details. It's Liberty Live blog team. We'll get the link up there in the chat in just a moment. The goal in Tampa is to nominate Ron Paul and elect him as the Republican nominee. It's real simple. So, if I could get up there on stage in front of the entire delegation body in Tampa and plead to all the delegates to please vote for Ron Paul and tell them why they needed to, well, the first vote, I would do it in a heartbeat and just beg them to vote for what's right, because it's not about uniting around the party. it doesn't matter about what the party, if this is a Democrat party that Ron Paul is running, it matters with what is right. Ron Paul runs on what is right, on the truth, and on principle. And, you know, on the Constitution, which really is what our government, you know, needs to run by, and that's what needs to be the focus. And so if the people, the delegates in Tampa could hear Ron Paul speak, if they could hear him give the speech he did in Texas about unity, then it's really, really, it'd be really important. I really would trust that people would wake up and vote for the right one and not just vote for the party's candidate. Who would we vote for Vice President? Ron Paul, who gets nomination, Lord willing, then it would be, you know, maybe, hey, Judge Napolitano, he'd be pretty cool. As far as for Mitt Romney, I haven't even thought about that because I can't support Mitt Romney no matter who's his vice president. So, the Supreme Court ruling, I haven't seen much about it lately, so couldn't comment on it. You know, we would write in Ron Paul if we could, but Oklahoma is one of the few states that's illegal to do write-ins, so we can't write him in. Yeah, Napolitano can speak really well, and he'd really be a great choice with Ron Paul. So hopefully we'll, you know, come out of Tampa with good things to share, but we've got our work cut out for us, you know, ahead of that. You know, there's people that need to, all the Ron Paul delegates need to stay motivated because I was talking to someone in at the Arkansas summer committee meeting, and he's a delegate for Ron Paul, but he was talking like he was defeated. He says, well, there's no reason to vote for Ron Paul. You can't get it from Arkansas. You know, he can't get the nomination from Arkansas because we don't have the majority. He's like, so I'll just vote for Romney. I said, you got to try. You got to do what's right. You don't just give up. You have to vote what's right, whether Ron Paul is, if everyone says, well, we don't have enough votes, then yeah, you won't have enough votes. But if everyone just votes, then, hey, guess what? You might actually have enough votes. So it's like you can't sell out and vote for Romney just because you can't. Yeah, one can't win. The other one can't win. That makes no sense. I don't know yet what our plans are after this for the next thing for the LiveStream team besides the Fall Festival in Tampa. So we're going to take it day by day, and if we decide to go to Nebraska in July or something, you know, then we'll announce it, but I don't know. We won't vote if Ron Paul is not nominated, if Romney's the one on the ticket in November. So there's no questions about that. You can't vote. I can't vote for the lesser of two evils. And honestly, I would rather have 4 more years of Barack Obama and then have the chance to put someone else better up in 4 years in 2016 than be stuck with Romney for 8 years, Romney for 4 years, and another Democrat go up in 4 more years. So that's what we mentioned that to someone, an establishment person at the Saturday at the committee meeting, and kind of got him to think because he didn't really like Ron Paul. I mean, not Ron Paul. He didn't really like Romney. He wasn't a Ron Paul supporter, but he, didn't care for Romney. And so we said, well, why would you want him for 8 years if you don't really like him as it is? So I think we had a good point. Maybe we made him think. But he said we were not going to change his mind. So really dumb. Going to run for office anytime? County chair or vice chair, maybe? We'll start there. On the Holder Obama issue, honestly, I don't watch the news, and I don't really know what is going on with that. Maybe she does. I don't. Of the news, I can't stand the news, so. Let me check it. Let me catch up with these chat here. In Oklahoma, I don't believe you can vote for a third party. So it's simply 2 parties. You can't do anything else. So we don't have freedom. Let's see, enlist the national delegates. Each state puts out a list of who all their delegates are. So you should be able to find that on any state committee website. So.
But all the states are not saying who's Ron Paul supporter
Right.
or not, because some people want to stay kind of undercover.
Our thoughts on Fast and Furious. It's just bad news. Like I said, I don't keep up with the news, so I don't know the details of it. I just know it's bad. So.
Anybody have any last questions?
Where in the just wherever someone asked where in the movement do we want to be, wherever God takes us next, you know, every day is by His control, and so you know, we're doing live streaming stuff. You know, some of us are delegates, and we just take every day as a step at a time and see whatever God brings along. And you know, we've done a lot of work the last few months, and we'll keep it up. So, you know, trust that God will continue to bless the efforts and use it to help nominate Ron Paul in Tampa. So,
And if not, as Ron Paul says, a movement whose time has come cannot be stopped.
So we will, you know, it's all still you have to continue on after Ron Paul for the liberty movement, and it's going to take years of work. All right, guys.
John, if you want to play that last video. No.
Why do we sit down when all should be standing? And why do we back down at the critical moment, like running away from the waves of the ocean? We head for the hills with the high tide approaching, as sand slips away from the castle. When it's time to stand upright, why do we falter, like placing our freedom on the sacrificial altar? We hold tight to our fears and defend our oppressors, as we fight for their lives and become the transgressors, as pacifists transform to violent aggressors. But I'm only a stranger here. I'm a long, long way from my home, and they say I can't change all the things I find strange. But what can one man do alone? They say, what can one man do alone? When is the right time to stand up for freedom? Could it be when you start to feel creating children who'll inherit the pain and the debt of this nation, and be slaves to the banks that cause hyperinflation, who are masters of commerce, lies, and bad legislation? Whoa, if you looked in the eyes of 1,000 young children through fences of razors, their innocence stolen, as the red flag of tyranny flies in the open, is that when you finally notice? Whoa, but I'm only a stranger here. I'm a long, long way from my home, and they say I can't change all the things I find strange. For what can one man do alone? Yes, what can one man do alone? I'm only a stranger looking to find better nature in my fellow man, but they keep telling me it's a sin to be free, and that's more than I'm willing to stand. Where given to censor your mind as free speech is forbidden, as martyrs for peace from the world will be driven away by the sound of a bellowing thunder and choke on the blood of a dream going under. As arrogant men tear up our Constitution, and from every direction we cry revolution, standing together and without permission, soldiers for truth in the war of attrition, the love of our country as our ammunition. I'm a long, long way from my home, and I'm going to change all the things I find strange, for I am not one man alone. Yes, I'm only a stranger. I'm a long, long way from my home, and I'm going to change all the things I find strange, for I know that I'm not alone. Yes, I know I'm not alone. Not alone.
Yeah, this will be a weekly show. Next show will be Monday, July 2nd, and Lord willing, at 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, if there's any change, I'm sure it'll be posted on the Ron Paul Tribune Facebook page and around. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Really enjoyed it. We'll send us messages, and if you have any questions or anything you want us to talk about. And that's all. Just, kind of a good way to end it, just to keep us all motivated in this Labor Day movement. So, thank you all for watching.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel, Liberty Stream Team.